I think I'll wait like another 2 minutes before we start. We're still missing a few people. Ooh. How is everyone doing? We are recording, but I'm waiting a few minutes so like 2 or 3 more people can jump in.
I'm doing good. Ethan, how are you?
That's good. I'm just stressing about finals and stuff, but it's okay. Besides that, I'm fine. But that's basically like the one thing in my mind besides this meeting.
Gotcha. No, I'm pretty sure that's all of us. It's final season.
Is anyone going to the council reorganization tomorrow?
Good evening. I am. I'm going tomorrow.
Okay, yay. I'll see you then.
Unfortunately, I cannot because I have a in-person final at 7 tomorrow. So
What class is that for?
it's for my classics. I'm taking a class on the classics.
Okay. I think we're only missing like 4 people. So I think we'll just start. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I call this meeting to order at 6:33 p.m. Ashley, can we have roll call, please?
Yes. All right. Chairperson Mizzy.
Hi, here.
Chairperson or Vice Chair Adriano.
Here.
Secretary Jimenez.
Here.
Commission Member Samantha Avila. Commission Member Genevieve Kamal.
Here.
Commission Member Sophia Cyrus.
Here.
Commission Member Dekai Hailu.
Here.
Commission Member Jasmine Ho.
Here.
Commission Member Melissa Hua.
Here.
Commission Member Cheska Ivasan. Commission Member Russell Lee.
Here.
Commission Member Daniela Leong.
Here.
Commission Member Nita Mariano. Commission Member Monique Ray. Oh, sorry, I messed up. Commission Member John Carlo Ray.
Here.
Sorry, and I will fix your name on the agenda. I just remembered that one. Commission Member Monique Ray. Commission Member Julia Tu.
Here.
Commission Member Megan Yoshida.
Here.
Oh, is that everybody? Oh, we got to Y. Okay. All right, what is next on the agenda? So we have roll call, agenda review. Is there anything that anyone would like added or redacted or anything from the agenda? Any questions? No. All right. Approval of minutes. Megan and I are, oh wait, that's a DM. Approval of minutes. How do we do approval of minutes? We don't have to go over the minutes. Do we just talk about it?
No, I think someone can approve and then someone can second the approval.
Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting on November 1st?
I approve. I motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, we have a motion from Vice Chair Adriano. Do we have a second?
I second that approval.
And a second from Commissioner Leong. Do we need to do roll call vote for that? Okay, well then the minutes were approved. Public comment for items not on the agenda. Are there any people raising their hands for public comment? Or did we get any emails possibly, even though I know our email address is brand new? All right, okay. Well then on to presentation from Seamless Bay Area. I give the floor to Adina.
All right. Thank you very much. It's a real honor and pleasure to be speaking to the South San Francisco Youth Commission, since youth have really been amongst the really powerful leaders of a movement around the region for a more seamless and equitable and well-integrated public transportation system for the Bay Area. And can I share a screen?
Yes, I have made you co-host, so you should be able to.
Okay. Hang on, let me make sure I've got the right document up to share. Sorry, this is going to take me a brief moment. Seamless Bay Area is a nonprofit organization with a mission to create and to transform the Bay Area's fragmented public transportation system into a world-class, unified, equitable, and widely used system by building a diverse movement for change and promoting policy reforms to bring that change about. And as young people who depend on transit, many know personally, is that public transportation should be the backbone of the Bay Area, but it wasn't keeping up even before COVID, where it wasn't keeping up with the population growth and the economy. And many people want to use public transportation more than they do, but have not, because it's just too difficult. It takes too long. It doesn't come often enough. It doesn't go where people need to go. It is confusing and insufficiently reliable. And part of the reason, not the only reason, but an important part of the reason why we have had these challenges over time is the fragmentation of the system. The Bay Area has 27 different agencies. You can see all of these different logos, and these agencies have not worked together traditionally particularly well with regard to things like fares and schedules and capital improvement projects. And COVID really exacerbated some of the challenges and even created new gaps. So what we are seeking to do is to change this. Let me actually show the whole slide here. Where if you look at this image before you, you'll see a difference here. What do you see in this image compared to the previous one? You don't see logos. So we envision a system where we have a connected rapid transit network that's planned at a regional level to work as a system, where transit agencies work together to operate different parts of the whole as an integrated network. It doesn't mean that agencies all go away, but it means that different ones are running different parts of the system that work together as a whole. And where service quality, fares, student discount schedules, and wayfinding signage are standardized to be reliable and as simple as possible for users. So it's not enough to have a coordinated system. In order to have a coordinated system, we need to have frequent service, and we need to have more funding to be able to run the system frequently. So that is something that we support as part of the move to have a seamless public transportation system. And this is something that is particularly notable in South City, where there is Caltrain, there's BART, Samtrans, there's a ferry. In order to get into San Francisco, you often will need to take Muni also, so people run into the need to take different agencies as part of daily life, and really experience the fragmentation of the system. And one of the things that we have been working on, because the challenges of fragmentation are really so obvious to many ordinary people, but our system has persisted in its fragmentation. We have worked on an organizing campaign to show shared interest in a set of seamless transit principles. And this is a set of 7 common sense principles to run all Bay Area transit as an easy-to-use system, put riders first, make public transit equitable and accessible to all, align prices to be simple, fair, and affordable, connect effortlessly with other sustainable transportation, plan communities and transportation together, and prioritize the reforms that it will take to create a seamless network. And this is something that has become really widely supported around the region, including in San Mateo County, where there are 19 public agencies and jurisdictions, including cities in San Mateo County, including San Mateo, Redwood City, East Palo Alto, Menlo Park, Half Moon Bay, Pacifica, Millbrae, the Cities Association in Santa Clara County, San Jose, Berkeley, El Cerrito, Fremont, as well as transit agencies, including BART and WIDA, the ferry agency, and 57 nonprofit groups and businesses around the region, including the San Francisco Youth Commission, including Youth Leadership Institute, which does a good amount of work in San Mateo County, including youth leaders at Associated Students in San Jose State University, in UC Berkeley, in Chabot College in East Bay, many different youth organizations, in addition to environmental organizations, labor organizations, business organizations, a really great diversity of support around the region, public and civic, lending support to this really important and really common sense goal of having a seamlessly coordinated public transportation system. And one of the really important initiatives to bring about a seamless system is fair coordination and integration. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about some really substantial progress that has been made over the last year, and some things that this body may be interested in supporting. So there was a regional fare coordination and integration study that had started back in 2019 before the pandemic, that was supervised by a fare integration task force, which was composed of the transit agency general managers and the executive director of the Metropolitan Transportation Commission. It was managed by the staff from BART and Metropolitan Transportation Commission. For disclosure, it was advised by the Policy Advisory Council subcommittee, and that's a body that I'm on as an individual civically active resident, and was chairing the advisory body. So I know quite a bit about this study, having gone to all of the advisory meetings. And this study did a detailed business case analysis of the financial costs, benefits to riders, driving reduction, pollution reduction, equity. And what they came up with was a set of recommendations that were recently approved as a fare policy vision by the Fare Integration Task Force. And these include some really significant things. Those include a pilot all agency transit task for organizations like community colleges and universities, housing developments, employers, transportation management associations. So historically, it's been possible to get a transit pass for a single agency. You could get a SamTrans pass or a Caltrain pass or a ferry pass. And what would happen, for example, if the city was approving a housing development or an expansion of an employer, the city would say, you need to get a transit pass for your employees or workers. Well, should you get a SamTrans pass or a Caltrain pass? This is not a question that makes sense. There should be a transit pass that works for all of the agencies, and this is what they will be piloting. This is potentially going to be rolled out by next summer in 2022. The next piece of this vision that was approved was free transfers. So being able to transfer from SamTrans to Caltrain or SamTrans to BART, and having that a local trip be free, or SamTrans to meeting and so on. And then a third item that was approved, and the free transfers are proposed to be moving forward in a year in 2023, along with the next generation of the Clipper system. And then a next piece that would require additional funding is standardizing the regional fares so that Caltrain and BART and ferry and the express bus will all be on the fare system. And so it is very exciting that these things were recommended as a fare policy vision by the Fare Integration Task Force, but it is not at all guaranteed that these things will move forward, because they will require, now that that's been approved, approval by each and every one of the 27 transit agencies in the first half of 2022 in order for it to move forward. So in other words, good progress has been made, but things are not done yet. So I'll back to this in a minute. And so this progress is part of a broader set of progress around the region where, during the pandemic, the Metropolitan Transportation Commission convened a Blue Ribbon Transit Recovery Task Force to seek to recover public transit from the impacts of COVID in a way that is more seamlessly integrated and convenient than before. And this body recommended 27 different actions, including making progress on fare coordination and integration, mapping and wayfinding, and transit priority. So there's going to be a lot of progress and action moving forward in the coming year and in the years to come. One thing that in many regions that have brought about a seamless transit system, part of the solution has been, in different places around the world, has been legislation. And Seamless Bay Area has worked with legislators over the last couple of years to bring forward legislation at the state level that while it hasn't passed, the things that were in the legislation have been brought into existence at the regional level moving forward. So I'll be able to answer more questions about that, but I won't go into detail unless we have questions about the legislation. The last thing that I wanted to share here is that seamless transit, based on polling, is just incredibly popular. This was a poll that was done by the Metropolitan Transportation Commission about the seamless transit bill that was encouraging moving forward on fare integration and wayfinding and other measures for seamless transit. And you can see that 89 to 90% of voters are in support of seamless transit. So this is really something that is extremely common sense and popular amongst the general public. So I'm going to stop here and share what this group may be interested in doing, that we would really welcome support from this group, and to take questions. So the two things that this group could potentially do at this time would be to encourage the South San Francisco City Council to support the seamless transit principles and join that list of other cities and other organizations around the region. And secondly, to sign the joint letter in support of fare integration, which is making such great progress, but is not yet complete. And so support from cities will continue to be helpful in the coming year. For organizations that support the seamless transit principles, we will happily come back and provide updates on progress around the region on seamless transit, and there will be future opportunities as the region works on things like a connected network plan and the potential for legislation moving forward. So with that, I will stop sharing the screen and be happy to take any questions.
Well, thank you for the great presentation, Adina. Are there any questions or anything? Vice Chair Adriana.
Yeah, thank you so much for that presentation. I guess one thing I was wondering is, so if with the mission of the Seamless Bay Area in mind, and if agencies such as like Caltrain, Samtrans, if they were to relinquish their control, what would they have any role after like Seamless is implemented, like, or would they just, or would like these agencies just completely disintegrate afterwards?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So at Seamless Bay Area worked with partners to do research on how regions around the world manage a more seamlessly integrated public transportation system. There are multiple ways to do it. And one way to do it, which is not the only one, would be to merge all of the agencies and completely consolidate. However, there are many regions around the world that have extremely well coordinated systems that have many more agencies than we do here in the Bay Area. For example, the Frankfurt region in Germany has over 100 agencies that work very well together. And the thing that is different is that there is an entity in the region that is in charge of making sure that the entire system runs in a coordinated manner. And the Bay Area is one of the actions that is part of that Blue Ribbon Task Force action plan is doing a network management business case study that is going to be moving forward next year, looking at what the best way is to do this for the Bay Area.
Thank you. Oh, and I guess I had another question is, what would fare integration look like with the different systems? Because I know, for example, BART has a different way of calculating like their version of fares versus Caltrain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So under the BART's fares are distance-based, based on miles, and Caltrain's fares are based on zones, but it's still, like the zones are based on distance. So under the hood, they're really similar. And so they would need to go from being similar to being the same to make things more convenient for users. But like under the hood, they're actually quite similar. So it wouldn't be a really tremendous change to make them be the same as opposed to similar.
Thank you.
All right, and Commissioner Lee has his hand up.
Yeah. Hello. I was just wondering, like, are there any like projections of like, I guess like numbers, just like maybe like how much, I guess the state legislation, or at least like, or like how much it is to like implement these principles, and like how much like fare is like would be reduced, and like how much I guess like time would be like, I guess like transit time would be reduced too.
So the element there that has been, excuse me, studied in the most detail has been fare integration. And one of, let's see, there are price tags that are associated with those different types of fare integrations. I can even bring that up in a slide because I'm not remembering exactly how much that was off the top of my head. And the, okay, why is this? Hang on for a moment while I bring up the slide that has the answer to your question. The exact, the level of the fares is not something that was set as part of the study, but in terms of the amount of cost to do the free transfers would cost about $24 million, and there was funding that was identified for that by the Metropolitan Transportation Commission. They have not yet voted to spend that money, but the commissioners were supportive of it at a workshop that they had about a month ago. And the cost to the agencies for harmonizing the regional fares was $70 million a year. And for those investments were analyzed to be amongst the 2 or 3 most cost-effective investments in the entire region over the region's long-range plan throughout 2050. So the cost per new transit rider is between $2 and $3 per new rider, which is, again, among the most cost-effective things that the region has available to increase transit ridership. Hope that answers your question.
Oh yeah. Wait, for option or the unified fare thing. Wait, so like it would have to like cost money to unify the fare like taking system, or like the just like how they like, or I don't know. Sorry, like what did that term mean?
So if I understand your question correctly, there would need to be some public funding in order to be able to provide the free transfers, but doing so would help increase transit ridership in a way that was less money than other things that we could do as a region to increase transit ridership.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Commissioner Hua has her hand up.
Yeah, thank you again for coming. I think given the discussion about climate change and specifically greenhouse gas emissions, it's like pretty big role of transportation agencies throughout the Bay Area to kind of reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So I was kind of wondering, what is Seamless Bay Area's plan by integrating all of these systems into reducing greenhouse gas emissions?
Yes. So this was once again the element that has been studied in the most detail was for integrated fares, and what that showed was that providing the free transfers, which are part of the proposal that is moving forward, would reduce driving miles by about the same as Caltrain electrification, which is one of the region's major projects to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And standardizing the regional fares, like making Caltrain and BART and the ferry and the regional bus the same, would reduce about as much vehicle miles traveled as 4 times Caltrain electrification. So these are really powerful strategies to reduce driving, greenhouse gas emissions, and other types of pollution from driving.
Right. Are there any other questions or for Adina about Seamless, or Vice Chair Adriano, your hand is up again.
Oh, yes, I had another question. I guess what I was wondering is, so if Seamless is implemented, I guess would the region still have a little bit of control, like very specific regions who know like what the geography of their area looks like best, and like who would know like where to place like what line where? Would they still have a say in regards to where to place those lines?
Yes, absolutely. And in regions around the world that have seamless transit, the local agencies continue to be responsible for the local service and for specifics like where the route goes and where the bus stops are. Those will continue to be controlled locally. But things that would be planned regionally, I'll give you an example of a problem right now being caused by the lack of a regional plan. The bus line that runs over the 92 bridge, the M bus, was stopped for COVID, and then it never has been restored. That bus line is run by AC Transit, and the bus was extremely infrequent. It came somewhere between every 45 minutes, an hour, or an hour at best. And the last bus was at like 5:30 or 6 in the evening. So it was not very useful. And with that poor schedule, it had low ridership. And now there's no bus running on that highway at all. So we have a major part of the region that has no bus. And if we had a network that was planned as a region, it would be a good principle to say that every major piece of the network should have public transportation. We shouldn't have a major a bridge like the 92 bridge that has no bus. And so that would be an example of something that we would be delivered by planning the network as a region. And we would still have, for example, Samtrans saying where the bus stops and where the route goes.
Thank you.
All right. And so if there aren't any other questions, so Adina did say that this body does have the opportunity to support the seamless transit principles and the fare integration letter. Adina, do you think, or staff, could we do those? Does it have to be or how would we, like, letter of support, or like if the youth commission wanted to do that?
So because I think the action, I think what this body would do would be to recommend to City Council, if I understand this correctly, then the recommendation to City Council would be for City Council to support the seamless transit resolution. And there is standard resolution language that has been used by cities, including San Mateo and Millbrae and Redwood City and so on. And so it would be to support the seamless transit principles resolution. And in addition, for the city to support the joint fare letters that's been supported by the city of San Jose and several other cities, and as well as many other groups.
So how would we go about recommending it to the city council if the commission so desired? For like logistics standpoint, like Ashley, do you would we just make the motion and then say it and then have somebody give public comment to the council, or would we write a thing?
I'm not exactly sure when I saw that the San Francisco Youth Commission was able to support that. Did they make their own resolution, or is that something that they did a letter of support? Because I know the our Youth Commission, I know that they can issue a letter of support. So if that's something you're also interested in, I'm not exactly sure about council and how we can go about recommending that, but I can definitely ask other staff members and find out.
I believe.
Okay. And if this body is interested in support, that would also be welcome if this body has the ability to do so.
I think they are able to write a letter of support if this body is interested in doing so.
Adina, do you know what the San Francisco Youth Commission did? I see Calvin is on the call. I believe it was a resolution.
Yeah, I believe that the San Francisco here. I will not speak for Calvin. You can speak directly instead of me going by memory.
Yeah, sure. Yes. Hi, Calvin Craig, formerly of the San Francisco Youth Commission and author of the resolution. It was that the Youth Commission passed in San Francisco supporting seamless transit principles. If I recall correctly, we passed a resolution that both stated our support as a commission for the seamless transit principles, and that resolution also included a clause that urged our various other stakeholders, Board of Supervisors, MTA board, to support the principles as well. The letter sort of came a bit later. We did that later, but so if this body wished to do that, that's what we did. So, yeah.
Thank you, Calvin. So how does the commission feel about this? I can't see most of your faces. Is there, do we want to support? Do we want to ask the council to support, or both? And there are two issues or two topics, so like we could do a combination depending on how the commission feels, if we want to discuss. Commissioner Lee has raised his hand.
Oh, I just had a question. Just like, how would I guess like pushing the council to support this like affect yeah, just like adopting these like principles, or like on a regional or like statewide like base? Yeah, just like the legislation, or yeah.
Okay, yes. So supporting the seamless transit principles is not a blank check saying that this group is endorsing any possible legislation that comes forward. It's a general policy direction. So for example, many cities have a Vision Zero policy that is supporting reducing traffic fatalities, but that doesn't mean that the city is compelled to approve every specific bike lane. And so just the same way, supporting the seamless transit principles is supporting these general directions. And this body or the city council would need to separately decide to support a specific piece of legislation to advance something else in specific. That's why, for example, the fair integration letter is separate from supporting the seamless transit principles.
Okay, thank you.
And then Commissioner Ibasan, I saw your hand up for like a second.
I was just going to ask what Russell said, so it's all good. Thank you.
So is there a motion anyone would like to make? Or we can continue, we can discuss this more, we can ask Adina more questions. I personally, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so just checking in. The constitutes of what we can do is write a letter of support to city council, right? That's
The youth commission can recommend to the city, we can write a letter or resolution to the city council recommending them to support the regional fair integration and seamless Bay Area. And also on top of that, we can also support fair integration and seamless Bay Area.
Can we motion to like vote on both separately?
Yes, you can motion to do that. I did see Commissioner Kamal's hand for 1 second, but it went away.
Yeah, I was gonna ask something, but then I decided against it.
So is there a motion to do whatever?
I motion to vote on for our specific council commission to vote upon supporting the rapid integration and seamless Bay Area.
I second the motion.
With a motion and a second, do we need a roll call vote for this?
I could do a roll call vote. Commissioner Chairperson Mizzi,
Aye.
Secretary Jimenez,
Yes.
Commissioner Avila, Commissioner Kamal,
Yes.
Commissioner Cyrus,
Yes.
Commissioner Hailu,
Yes.
Commissioner Ho,
Yes.
Commissioner Hua,
Aye.
Commissioner Ibasan,
Aye.
Commissioner Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Leong,
Yes.
Commissioner Mariano, Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Commissioner Monique Ray, Commissioner Julia Sue, sorry,
Yes.
and Commissioner Yoshida.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. I should have clarified before, but was that motion just for us to support or for us to support and ask the council?
I think I'm specifically asking for the commission itself, but we can also do like a second motion to write to council because I think they're separate. But
If someone motions, or we don't have to motion, it's up to the body. And I don't feel comfortable as the chair motioning for things.
Wait, just to make sure we're on the same page, what we agreed upon is to write a letter of support for fair integration, also and to support seamless Bay Area transit principles, correct? Like we agreed on both of those things at once.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, and now we're deciding whether or not to send forth to the council.
If that is what we want to decide on or discuss.
Oh, I think we should. All right, okay. So I motion to send this over to council.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Okay, and for a roll call vote, Chairperson Mizzi,
Aye.
Commissioner Avila, Commissioner Kamal,
I agree.
Commissioner Cyrus,
Yes.
Commissioner Hailu,
Yes.
Commissioner Ho,
Yes.
Commissioner Hua,
Aye.
Commissioner Ibasan,
Aye.
Commissioner Lee,
Yeah.
Commissioner Leong,
Aye.
Commissioner Mariano, Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Commissioner Monique Ray, Commissioner Tsu,
Yes.
Commissioner Yoshida,
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had another question. So this isn't binding for the council. They don't have to address this if they don't want to. Is that correct, Ashley?
I am not actually sure on the rules on this. I can double check and get back to you guys.
Thank you.
And then logistical questions. So would we basically like write a thing and then will we have to vote on that at the next meeting to then send to the council, or do we just write a thing and send it to the council and we don't have to vote on it or have a second reading or anything?
I would say that you guys do not need to vote on it because you guys already agreed. That's my understanding. If that's something you guys did want to take back and you guys wanted to write together, I'm sure you are welcome to, but I don't think it's just, I think it's just an extra step that may not be necessary. But up to you guys.
Okay. In my opinion, if it's not necessary, I don't think we need to do it, but if the commission wants to, we can. Okay. Are there any other questions for Adina while we're still eating up her very valuable time or anything? No? Okay. Well, thank you for coming, Adina. You can feel free to stay if you want. I know you're probably busy watching all the like boards that you watch and all the things you sit on.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the invitation, but I am going to need to go. Thank you very much for the support for this body and the recommendation to the City Council. And as I had mentioned earlier, there are a number of different items moving forward. So I will let the staff and the chair know if there are things that are coming forward in the coming year that this group might be subsequently interested in.
Thank you, Adina.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Good night. Bye.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
All right. I need to like unmute. I've been pressing the space bar this whole time because I just found out the other day that you can do that on Zoom. So I believe the next item on the agenda is, it's loading, but I'm 90% sure it is mission statement. Yes, mission statement. Last night, the bylaws mission statement subcommittee, or at least part of it, met like late at night to actually go over this, and we actually did come up with something. So we came up with the mission statement and we kind of like went over the bylaws just to see if there was anything we wanted to change before this meeting. Should I share screen for this, or like Ashley, I can send it to you and you can share screen, or like
Whichever you prefer. I have it ready. If you want to share it, you can share it. Do you want me to share it?
I
Oh, you got it?
I'm already here.
Perfect.
Okay, so first we'll do the mission statement. This is what we came up with last night, this highlighted portion. We tried, it was myself, Melissa, and Sophia, and we we were talking, our general thought was like, we want it to be vague and like kind of explain like what we are, but like we also wanted it to be a value statement for like the things that we stand for and believe in. So just like this yellow portion, I'll read it to the group. The South San Francisco Youth Commission is tasked with the duty of advising the City Council on issues affecting the youth. In doing so, the Commission works towards bridging the gap between the youth and their government. The Commission shall address issues such as social justice, climate and sustainability, transportation, housing, and mental health. The Commission seeks to educate, encourage, and empower the youth of our city to better engage in and understand their local government. And we can add things to this, take things away, scrap it, write a whole thing. We just wanted to have something to bring to this meeting so like we could like have like a foundation for like discussion. I don't know if I don't think I can, or I don't think I can see hands. So like, if you want to speak, please just speak. Or like, does anyone has comments? Like you love it, you hate it. Or the people who were there at the meeting last night, if you want to talk about it and what our thought processes were. Oh, I can see raised hands. Russell or Commissioner Lee, just you can talk.
I just wanted to say it looks good, and yeah, I appreciate everybody who worked on it last night.
Thank you.
I agree with Russell. I really liked how, while mentioning the mission statement, you kind of brought up the values that we stand for. Yeah, I can't find really anything to pick out. I really like all of it.
Okay, is there any, we had a long discussion about like the like, not bullet points, but like the things we wanted to add, like social justice, climate and sustainability, transportation, housing, and mental health. Like that was kind of a debate, but like those are like the ones we landed on because like they're vague and yet specific enough. I don't know if there are no issues or like anything. Aaron, I see you talking, but you're not. I can't hear you.
Oh no, I'm just reading it.
Oh.
I think like the things that you listed were really good because like we've touched up on a lot of those like throughout the like year and last year too. So I think like putting those aspects in our mission statement is like a good choice and it would make people more interested.
Okay. Well, unless anyone says anything, it seems like there's agreement that people like the mission statement. What we can do is we can motion to approve the mission statement now, or we can go through the whole bylaws and then just approve the bylaws since the mission statement is a part of the bylaws. Like we can do like one or both. Do we want to go through the whole bylaws and just approve that, or do the mission statement and then the bylaws? Okay, Aaron was nodding their head for just the bylaws. So we're gonna go with that. The city clerk is encouraging us to have bylaws because bylaws make meetings run nicely and makes things easily explainable. And I personally like bylaws, so I think her encouragement and suggestion is really good. She sent me some bylaws that other city commissions have, and then I also parsed through bylaws of various other youth commissions, namely San Francisco and Oakland. A lot of this was kind of taken from San Francisco, but a lot of the stuff was also just the stuff Rosa gave me. And I know that this wasn't in the packet. So if we approve it tonight, I believe we will have to like have a secondary approval next meeting. Ashley?
I also need to get it approved by Rosa as well, I believe.
Yes.
So we can do that and then.
Or so I guess tonight our approval of it can be.
Yeah, I think I'm assuming you guys can approve tonight and then Rosa can approve and then we're all set to post.
Since it wasn't on since it wasn't sent to every commissioner before this meeting, wouldn't we have to approve it a second time?
Oh, I'm not sure.
We can, okay, we'll figure out those questions.
Okay.
So we'll just go down the whole thing. I mostly made this like last month. This was like, it took a lot of work, but this was like when I wasn't busy, and now I'm busy, so I wouldn't be able to do this now. And they're vacuuming. So I'm gonna tell them to stop vacuuming. Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry. Okay. My dad is like vacuuming. Okay, so City of South San Francisco Youth Commission bylaws. Article 1, purpose, establishment. The Youth Commission, hereinafter called the Commission, was established by ordinance. That is the ordinance passed by the City Council, blah, 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 to uplift the voices of the youth of the City of South San Francisco. And then that is the mission statement we just approved. Article 2 is composition, so like people on the commission. Membership is any resident of the City of South San Francisco or student in the school district who is 14 to 22 can be appointed to the commission, and each member is appointed by the City Council. The terms, this is mostly stuff taken from the ordinance, but I'm going to go over it just so we all know. Per the ordinance, the initial term of membership shall be a year. After members of the commission have served for 1 year, they may be appointed for 2 years, and the staff will be the city manager's office. Meetings, we will have regular meetings the first Monday of every month, unless it's on a holiday. Special meetings, we can call a special meeting with a 72-hour notice. Reading meetings, procedures, and rules of order. Wait. Oh, that should be quorum. Sorry, we didn't catch that last night. So quorum, quorum shall consist of a majority, and quorum is needed to begin a meeting. So you'll need a quorum to begin your meeting. And abstentions are only permitted if there's a clear conflict of interest. We can discuss that one. And rules of order are basically like how like motions and stuff work. So there's 2 main types that are used by like cities. There's Robert's rules and Rosenberg's. And the city clerk kind of said we can use either or and it doesn't matter, but Rosenberg's are just easier because it's like a 8-page thing opposed to Roberts, which is a whole book. And so I think Rosenberg's would be appropriate for us because I don't want us all to have to read a book. Agendas and minutes. Any commissioner or member of the public are encouraged to request that items be added on the agenda. So any of you can like ask me to add anything to the agenda. And the chair and staff shall meet at least the week prior to each meeting to approve the agenda. And agendas shall be posted this week. I can just talk to staff about because I don't know where we would post agendas. Attendance, registration, and compensation. After a commissioner is absent for 2 meetings within 12-month period, the mayor may like contact you about the absences, and the commission member can respond to the mayor. And the mayor will then report to the city council about these absences, and the city council can remove any commissioner after they've been absent 3 times, I think, because that's just like a city policy for any commission. Tardiness, I don't believe the city has a tardiness policy, but we put in here that a commissioner arrives 15 minutes late will be tardy, but every 2 tardies is an absence. I suppose that's up to the city clerk if we can do that, because I think if you're tardy, commissioners are just considered absent or something. We can ask the city clerk about that. And then this is about authorized absences and compensation. So we'll get $100 every month. And any commissioner who wishes to resign has to inform the city clerk. That was in the packet that Rosa sent us all. And then we have the office positions. So per the ordinance, we have a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary. And the chair runs the commission meetings and meets with staff and reviews and does the agendas, and the vice chair will facilitate the meetings when the chair isn't there. And since the YAC wanted the vice chair to have a role other than being the assistant chair, last night we decided that they should put together the annual put together and present the annual report to the city council. Because per the ordinance, we do actually have to report to the council like what we did once a year. And we thought it would be cool for the vice chair to do that. And I know the YAC kind of had plans for that before the YAC unexisted itself. And then the secretary shall ensure the preparation and maintenance of the minutes. We didn't know, last night, we didn't know what else we wanted the secretary to do because that already is an arduous task. And then this is just saying like the executive officers will have a flexible time schedule, blah, blah, blah. Any officer can be removed by 2/3 majority of the commission. And no commissioner shall serve as one or more office. That's just kind of like basic. And then this is saying when we will elect our officers, but that's all taken from the ordinance. And then it does say how we can have committees, and that's a thing that we were going to talk about after this. And then this is a code of conduct that we put in last night. We didn't really talk about it because I don't think anyone had any issues with it. Basically, it's like kind of what the mission statement already said. And then this we'll just, I guess, talk to the city clerk about. But are there any questions regarding this? We're gonna look at it again because we have to send it to the city clerk to make sure it follows like her rules and stuff, because that's one of her duties. But I would like us to talk about this before we send it to her. Aaron, Vice Chair Adriana is nodding their head. I don't know if that means they like it or they want to talk about it, or.
I think it sounds good. I was just wondering if, I guess, the purpose of the bylaws, this isn't the mission, this isn't the ordinance. I'm kind of confused.
Oh, that's purpose of the commission.
The purpose of the commission. Okay, because I feel like we've written like this like 5 times. I don't know if I'm getting crazy.
Well, because it just says the commission aims to uplift the voices of the youth, and that's just taken from the ordinance. So there's nothing that we can really put there.
Oh.
I guess, unless we want to put more, because we put the mission statement, which is kind of our self-given purpose, right? Commissioner Hua, you can just speak if you would like.
Yeah. Can we just motion to approve the minutes or?
It seems like there is
bylaws, sorry.
There is a motion on the floor to approve the bylaws. Is there, or unless you shook your head, so like we can talk about it.
Oh yeah, I was just making sure that anyone had more comments, but.
Okay. Are there any other comments? This will be, if we do approve it, it'll go to the city clerk, and then hopefully she can look at it before our next meeting, and then that can be in the packet, and then like you'll get it like a week before the meeting, and then we can like make sure you all like read every letter, and then like we can talk about it. So this is this is a first draft, I guess, or a rough draft. But it seems as if there are no comments since no one is commenting. So if someone would like to make a motion, because you kind of rescinded your motion.
But yeah, I motion to approve the bylaws.
Is there a second for the motion?
I second that motion.
There was a second from, I don't know who, I couldn't see them on the thing, but
Sophia.
Sophia. Do we
Okay,
need
should we do a roll call vote or?
I think that's your call. Since I think next meeting we would have to do one.
Okay,
Okay.
let's leave it at that, and then the next meeting we'll do a roll call vote.
Fantastic. Okay. We got that out of the way. Subcommittees. Oh my gosh, we skipped over subcommittees. That is my bad. So last meeting we talked about the subcommittees we wanted, and we had a very long and thoughtful conversation about it. And then we said we would think about it and then come back to this meeting. Ashley or Tomiko, do you have that list of subcommittees that we said that we wanted, that we said we would think about?
I think we can pull it up. Tomiko, do you have it?
Sorry.
I'm looking for it. Hold on.
I had it on a piece of paper that was like right on my desk, but like I had to move it out of my room last night, and so I lost it. But it's like with my stuff in boxes.
Ashley, do you have it? It's gonna take me a second. My computer's slow.
That's okay.
Okay, so I have transformative justice and equity, housing, land use and public transit, environment and sustainability, and civic engagement.
Okay, my notes say, and it's probably the same thing. I think I wrote it backwards. Civic engagement, environment and sustainability, public transit and housing, land use, justice and equity, and transformative justice and equity. Is that right?
Yeah, those are the four. Those are the same.
Perfect.
Okay. Over our month of not being together, did anyone have any thoughts about those subcommittees? If we like them, if we don't like them, Vice Chair Adriano, please. I would like to make this point. If you want to speak, you don't need to raise your hand. Like, unless there's like a presentation going on, I don't think it's a big deal. Like, you can just talk. And this isn't just directed at Aaron. This is directed at everybody. Please, like, you can just talk. Like, I don't really care about the raising your hand thing. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
I just like raising my hand because I feel like it's like a guarantee that no one will talk while like I'm raising my hand. You know what I mean?
Like raising our hands, we can raise our hand. I feel like it's like so formal if you raise your hand, but like it's like whatever. Do what you want.
Okay. Well, what I was going to say is I'm just to refresh my memory. What is the difference between civic engagement and the transformative justice one? Would civic engagement mostly, because my understanding was that while we were the YAC, we would have civic engagement for the purpose of like encouraging voter registration, but I don't know if we could still run those like in-person events now that we're an official commission. Yeah.
We would still be able to do stuff like that in person. My thoughts about it was that civic engagement includes things like social media, because you're engaging with people, and also like stuff like voter registration drives or like anything to get people involved with the city, or like getting them to come to our meetings or something. Whereas I think transformative justice is more of like social justice-y stuff, like regarding like race and policing and anything involving like environmental justice, anything. Or I guess that's more climate stuff, but does that answer the question? And they can also be whatever we want them to be, since they're subcommittees. I would like to say, from my brief experience trying to convene the bylaws and mission statement subcommittee, it was just kind of hard to get everybody together because all of our schedules are so crazy, especially right now. So I do think subcommittees are a good idea, but I remember last meeting, like we wanted like all these other smaller subcommittees for a bunch of issues, which is still fine so long as you can meet. But I feel like those should just be like when the time is needed, like we can do that. If that, like, I don't think they need to be discussed by the body and unless there's like a reason for it. But I think having 4 of these that like we at least try to meet regularly is a good idea. I don't think at the last meeting we decided if we wanted each subcommittee to meet every month or every 2 months or something. I don't think we talked about that. Do we want to say like you have to meet once every 2 months or something? Or not have to, but like it's recommended. Because I think once a month is a bit hard.
I guess my question would be is, do we have to create any subcommittees now? Like, can we just do it, like you said, just as we go? Like, oh, we have this event that we need X amount of people to help out with, and then we create a subcommittee in like accordance to that, or like, I guess, I don't know. Like, if we do create subcommittees now, with when we don't really know what's on our plate right now, I guess what would we talk about?
Well, kind of, I think in the original idea of us wanting subcommittees was that they would kind of come up with the things that we wanted to talk about. But it really is up to all of you and all of us. Does anyone have thoughts?
I think if we're doing, like, I agree with, like, I understand Aaron's perspective, because, but I also think that if we're doing like regular committees, like we were talking subcommittees that we were talking about, I also agree with like the recommendation of meeting at least like once every 2 months, because like it's not effective if no committees are meeting at all. And I know that's like, because we had committees, I remember we had them in like our first couple of years, but then they never met. So that was kind of an issue. So I think like in order to like make it more effective, like the meetings would have to be like pretty regular, or because because I understand the concern that they might not be used, but
Yeah, I agree. And then Genevieve says, are we planning on meeting more than once a month? No, the subcommittees would be completely voluntary. So it would be like, I'm Ethan and I want to be on this subcommittee. And like Aaron and Melissa can also say they want to be on that subcommittee. And then we would just decide when to meet to talk about stuff. But it's completely voluntary and you wouldn't have to. So yes and no. You wouldn't have to meet more than once a month if you didn't want to, I guess, to answer your question. So did we want to approve those 4 subcommittees now? And then like if there was anything like special issue thing that like comes up, we can just like say you 2 or 3 are gonna like meet on the weekend and talk about this and then bring it back to us. Or okay, Nika. What do we want to do?
What would the 4 subcommittees be?
The things that Ashley and Tamiko listed out could.
Do you want me to repeat them?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the 4 subcommittees that were mentioned were transformative justice and equity, housing, land use, and public transit, environment and sustainability, and civic engagement.
I think that like making the subcommittees now would be a good idea, since like the like the different committees are like really general, like umbrella terms kind of. And if like a situation were to arise, like we could always like put it in like a category that fit, or like what you said earlier, Ethan, like assign 2 to 3 people, like if it's enough. So I think it's like good to have like a starting base now. You know, I don't know if that makes sense or not.
No, that makes sense. Okay, so it seems like there's at least a plurality of people who want to approve these 4 right now. Is there a motion? Vice Chair? You're
I guess
reading.
what okay. How about, I mean, I guess, because are we planning to meet in person starting January? Is that on the table?
That's still being discussed. I don't think it'll be like the first week of January,
Oh,
but it is something that's still being discussed between the clerk and city manager. I will just say that whatever works for one commission, or like whatever is decided on one commission will probably be the general consensus, like for all of the commissions. So say like you can't just say like, oh, we're the youth commission, we just want to meet virtually. Like
mhm.
it unfortunately can't work like that. So if there's a decision that everyone's going to meet in person starting April or so, that's just a guess. April, then everyone will have to meet. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But since subcommittees wouldn't need to be like notified, and they don't need to be public meetings, and they don't technically, like, you don't need minutes, we could Zoom for those, I believe, right? Ashley nodded.
I believe so, but I will double check. I'm pretty sure, but I'll double check.
Pretty sure. Does that answer your question, Aaron? Okay. Russell had his hand up, or Commissioner Lee.
Yeah, I had a question. I was just wondering, when we were going to decide like on like meeting times for like the subcommissions, would that be like this meeting, or would that be like?
I think there's a few ways we can do that. I think at this meeting, if we were to like all raise our hands and say like who wanted to be on what subcommittee, that would just be kind of too hectic and stuff. But like we could, I'm sure, send out like a form or something to like everybody after this, and like or we could do it now. Since not everyone is here, I think we can just like send out a form email thingy. And then since each subcommittee wouldn't have a majority of the people on the commission on it, theoretically, like we can just email amongst ourselves for when to meet. Because I think it really depends on who is on each subcommittee when they want to meet, since like they're the ones running the meetings and stuff. If that makes sense.
Okay. So it's like informal, like they're like, I mean, like they're formal, like subcommittees, but then like the meeting times and like things
like
like
the
that are
dinner
informal.
yak.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any more questions or comments or concerns or anything, or is there a motion from a commissioner?
I'll make the motion.
Is the motion to approve the 4 subcommittees?
Yeah, I motion to approve these 4 subcommittees.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Second from Commissioner Ho. Okay. I don't think this needs a roll call vote. So I will work with staff to send out like a formy thing to like ask you like if you want to be on a subcommittee, and if so, which one do you want to be on? And hopefully we can send that out in the next like 2-ish weeks or something. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Next item, was bylaws, but we did that. Sorry about that. The next item is public comments. I see no members of the public here anymore. Before we just had Calvin and President of the Board of Education, Camacho. He was here for like a few minutes, and he dipped because he had another call, but he was like, y'all are great. So since there are no comments from the public, items from the commission. So this is things that like we can talk about that we want to talk about at future meetings or want to mention now. I have or does anyone, Aaron, you can go.
Okay, I just saw that we now have an email address, which is, oh my gosh, it's so great. I feel like I've been asking for that for like decades. It just feels so great. I guess I mentioned this the last meeting, but maybe we could create like a subcommittee to talk about how to advertise the public comment platform to like students at our local high schools. Yeah.
That sounds like a fantastic first task for the civic engagement subcommittee that we just created.
Oh, okay. I guess we could wait until after we decide who's on each committee.
So if you want to do that, join the civic engagement subcommittee.
Mhm.
And yeah, to Aaron's point, I think staff is going to talk about the email, but we have an email now, y'all. That's really cool. If there, is there anything from anyone? Russell?
I was wondering if like, I guess like once we get like, like more events or like, I guess like things on the table, like subcommittee meetings, like, do you think we could have like, maybe like a Google Calendar to like help organize all of it? Like just like something as a visual thing?
Yes. We would have to get things like planned and stuff first, but I think we totally can, since I think we still technically do, because like Marie, I don't know if anyone else gets them, but I know at least I get like a bunch of like things in my Google Calendar from like Marie, because like she just emails them to me. But I think she was just doing that to all the Yak people, but I'm sure we can do that for us. Or Russell.
Oh, nothing. You could go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, because I was talking to I was talking to another not commissioner for this commission, but a commissioner they're on the BPAC or something, and it was regarding the 101 expansion, and I did talk to planning staff about it, because there's this project where they're looking to add a lane to the 101 between the airport and the city, and I think it would be a really cool thing if we were to like talk to, or have the planning staff like kind of talk to us about it and like what the deal is with that, because I know the council is going to look at it in the coming months, and I think it would be cool if like we talked about it before the council did, so like we can give our comments to them. But like that's just like my opinion. But if anyone else like agrees, I can see if we can get somebody to come and like talk to us. Melissa nodded. Okay, I see nods. I will do that. Tomorrow night, I don't know if they were gonna, I think we should do staff comments first, because then I don't know what you're gonna say. But tomorrow night is the city council reorganization ceremony. It's at 7, I think. You all got a thing in the mail for it. I will be there. I believe Ingrid said she was going to be there, because like I asked in the very beginning before like we started. But if you go, I mean, we'll all be in the same room together, so I'll see you. But you should go if you can. And tomorrow morning, they're doing the ribbon cutting for the new police station. I believe most of you do have school, but if you don't, go or like check it out, because you get a tour of the building and it's a new building. I don't have anything else. Does anyone have anything else? Russell.
I was just wondering, I don't know, like maybe this is something for like the, I guess the environment and like sustainability like commission, but just like maybe just like something like, I don't want to say like a garden registry, but just like, I don't know, maybe like a map or like a layout and like something that we can work like Parks and Rec to just like show all of like just like the gardens like in South San Francisco, like either like the school ones, like El Camino, or like I guess South City has one, but also just like the community garden that like is on, I don't know, it's like near Orange Park, but like you have to get plots like that, and like I don't know, just like working to just like maybe with the school district to just like make those like public, like I guess I don't know, to like residents, because like I don't know, like I worked on it like in El Camino. I know that like just like gardens are very important to people's like mental health and stuff like that. And I know a lot of us are supportive of it. So I was just wondering, I don't know, maybe like a future agenda item, or just like letting y'all know about that.
I think that would be an interesting discussion. I can talk to Sharon about that because she would definitely know. I know Parks and Rec has a map of all parkland and green space. I do think the community garden. I think the community garden is on it. It might be tricky with the school district ones since they're on campus for like the schools. So like technically it's not open to the public, but like I mean you can walk in there if it's not fenced off. I don't know how South City is, but I know you can access the El Camino garden without like having to go through a gate, but like it's technically not open to the public. But we could even talk to somebody at the district about that. I will write that down. That's a good
Right. Like I know that they were like working towards like opening up the tracks, like the track and fields, so like
yeah,
let people like walk, and like just like having that like I don't know, for other like resources too, and maybe like community members or like residents could like add to it too.
I think that would be a really cool thing to ask. And I know that they were talking about opening up the tracks. I don't know what came of it. I don't even think they did it yet because like COVID is still like a thing. But I will ask about that. Okay. Is there anything else from anyone? If not, I give it up to staff for items from staff.
We all set? Okay, a few things. Ethan did mention the reorg. If you will be attending the reorg, you need to show proof of vaccination or have a negative COVID test within 72 hours. If you guys are coming, feel free to send me over your Vax card earlier so I can do like a pre-check type thing. For the ribbon cutting, that's at 10 a.m. tomorrow. You guys are welcome to come. They will also be doing tours of the new police building for everyone. Yeah, so that'll be after the speeches and whatnot. I'm not exactly sure when your stipends are coming. However, when you do receive them, it'll probably be in a lump. So we'll probably have 3 meetings by then. So it'll be all 3 meetings. I still don't know when exactly that will be. When I sent out the agenda, I sent out 2 forms that you needed to fill out. If you need assistance with those forms, you can reach out to me and I can help you out, or Marie can, or we will direct you to Rosa. Let's see. When we do hold in-person meetings, you will need to be vaccinated, or I believe you could show a negative COVID test within 72 hours. When that does happen, I'm not exactly sure. Leah, our HR director, is still working on an official form for that, but just so you guys are prepped, you guys will probably need to be vaccinated, and you can send me your vaccination cards as well, because I believe the staff liaison will be in charge of keeping track of that. Another thing to mention, Tamiko, I think you're taking the lead on this, is on December 18th, there will be a vaccine clinic for children ages 5 to 11, or I believe they'll do older as well. So I don't know if you guys have siblings or if you're in middle school still and want to share the word. At 616 Linden, there will be a charter bus. So they will be loading children and their parents up. So 1 parent to each child, I believe. And if your parent wants to get their booster while they're there, they're welcome to do that as well, or get their COVID vaccine. But basically the bus will take you at 12 p.m. and take you to San Mateo County Event Center. Everyone will get vaxxed, load back on the bus, and drop off at 616 Linden. I could share a flyer. I just posted it on Instagram if you guys want to check it out and repost it for the Youth Commission. But I think that's something you guys should get more involved in. Maybe Tamika, we can start looping them in just because they're the youth and this is targeted solely to children. So I think that'd be good. Tamiko, anything to mention?
No, Ashley, I think you covered it well. Thank you.
Okay, sorry if that was a lot of information. You guys have any questions on any of that?
If you can send up that flyer, that'd be cool though.
Yeah, I can send that to you.
Wait, did you? Oh, sorry, Ashley. Oh, did you say like help to like get out the word?
Yeah, you guys are, yeah. Tamiko is also doing outreach for that. So if you guys want to, I don't know, Tamiko, do you need any assistance with that? Or I don't know if you're working with the Promotoris but you guys are welcome to like repost on your stories or that kind of stuff on social media. I did post it on the South San Francisco Twitter, Facebook, Nextdoor, and Instagram. So feel free to repost. I'm
Yeah, I
still
was gonna
working
say,
on getting other languages too.
Yeah, I was gonna say any digital media, and then if someone, I don't know if we want to do this, we can post around the schools. I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah, I don't know the policy on that, but
If there's a digital flyer, I don't know about South City. I can ask Sam, but like as long as there's a digital flyer and like they can print it out, or like we can, like you can give it to me and I can give it to like somebody at
yeah,
they can post it physically.
Okay.
And stuff.
Sounds good.
Did we want to give a mini like update on the poetry slam thing?
Yeah. So do you want to go into that, Ethan?
Yeah, I can try, and then
Okay.
if I like, you can.
I'm sure you will be perfect. Go ahead.
Ashley, Tamiko, myself, Mary Jo, who is also at the city manager's office, and Marty, who is the head of library children's services. We've been like meeting a few times the past few months to talk about the youth poetry slam thing, because when the YAC still existed, Isabella wanted to do a youth poet laureate program, because Daly City just did theirs. So this first year we're just gonna do a youth poetry like slam thing, because actually youth poet laureate is like this thing you have to like pay to like do, because it's actually like a nationally it's like a national program thing. But so we're gonna like just do like a youth poetry slam probably sometime, like we're gonna advertise it in March and then do it in April, so that they can perform for the Parks and Rec like art show thing, because there's like an art show apparently in April, and April is a National Poetry Month. And so once we have more concrete details, we'll like talk about it more and like give more updates, but that's a thing that's happening, and we're going to try to get as many participants as possible so that we can hear youth voices. And Nika, I will, because Marty was like, yeah, if Nika wants to do some art, she totally can. But I can talk to you about that. Yeah. If there's is there anything else from anyone, or we can adjourn the meeting? I don't see anything, so I will adjourn this meeting at 8:04 p.m. I hope everyone is like doing good on their finals. Like, don't stress. Like me, I'm stressed. I have one due tomorrow at 9 a.m. that I haven't really done much on. But I hope everyone has a happy holidays. Today's the last day of Hanukkah. Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year. I'll see hopefully you all tomorrow, or some of you. Bye, it's adjourned, you can leave.
Yeah, everyone, thank you.
Okay, I'm actually gonna go because I have
Yeah.
what to do.
Same. Bye, guys. I hope it went well for you.
Are you both going tomorrow?
Yes, I will be there.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Good night. Bye, guys.
Bye.